Boo-doo, boo-doo-doo, ba-doo-ba-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo, ba-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo.
What's the use?
Yeah, what a
Fat
how
track.
good is that track?
Fat track.
Mac Miller
You killed that, by the way.
and Thundercat.
In a good way.
Oof.
Mm. Great combination.
Boo-doo-doo.
But that's not the one we're here to talk about today, though, right?
No, it's not. Although I wish it was.
You would have preferred that?
We always can. Well, we can do it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
There's a lot of good songs on swimming.
There's so many good songs on swimming. So many good songs in his discography, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, guy was amazing.
All right, Rob. So why did you choose this track?
I think I chose this one because I kind of wanted to, I guess, highlight this aspect of Mac Miller. And I mean, it's not like he had some really interesting aspects, but I love that he could do very like introspective songs, sadder sounding songs.
Mm-hmm.
But then he could also do songs like this.
Some hype songs.
Well, yeah. Well, even like What's the Use, which you were doing the bass line to, right? That's a very like quite an up-tempo song, like uplifting, fun party song, right? And he could do that. And then he could do this kind of thing, which is more like laid-back vibe, braggadocious, right? Like he just had so many different things he could do. I don't know. I just wanted to kind of highlight this. I just think his flow on this is so good. He's super charismatic, which I guess if you watch any videos of him, he really came across like that. Just seemed like a really cool dude, right?
He did. Super smiley, super fun.
Yeah, super positive guy.
Everyone had a good word to say about Mac.
Yeah, that's so I've heard. I'm not surprised. He really
he
looked like that kind of guy. So yeah. And I mean, like I've heard the song, obviously. I think you've heard this song. I'm not sure how many times. It's the first time we're listening to it together, though.
Yeah.
Right?
I haven't analyzed this track before, like
yeah,
re-listened to it really. So
yeah. So it'd be cool to get into it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, should we jump straight into it?
Let's jump in.
Let's do it. So this is Jet Fuel by Mac Miller. It's a cool sample.
What a cool voice.
Yeah.
The waves.
Yeah. Used to wanna be a superhero, flying around with a cape, catching bad guys. Now my head underwater, but I ain't in the shower and I ain't getting baptized. To the good and the bad times, all the cuts, broken bones, and the black eyes. Young motherfucker with a mad mind, made a couple million off of rap lines. Y'all can't tell me nothing no more. Came from the basement under that floor. You don't come close, you don't need to know I'm the GOAT. You don't need to know how I go, cause you know what you want. All I wanna do is the most. Backflip off the rope, sky hook when I'm in the post. You're my girl, too clutch to choke. And I ain't calling it quits. You can build a wall with your bricks. Well, I keep talking that shit. It's like this. Liquor still in my cup. Get faded when I wake up. Cause everything is too much. So what? Woke up this morning with a bright idea.
I like his singing voice.
Maybe I can exist forever right here.
I like the laziness of it.
Yeah.
It's laid back.
Yeah.
Totally in line with his vibe, hey?
He agree.
Yeah.
He's a chiller. That backing.
Okay, well, I'ma be here for a while, longer than I did expect to. I was out of town, getting lost till I was rescued. Now I'm in the clouds, come down when I run out of jet fuel. But I never run out of jet fuel. Well, I'ma be here for a while, longer than I did expect to. I was out of town, getting lost till I was rescued. Now I'm in the clouds, come down when I run out of jet fuel. But I never run out of jet fuel. 120 on the car that I don't whip. I don't even pull it up the driveway. Throwing up shots like I don't miss. Never put a limit on the high stakes. Try to pull my car till I'm go fish. You ain't gonna find a line in my face. I pick it up and let it go quick. They wanna get pussy. Yeah, I don't say nothing that I don't know. Jumping out the womb wearing polo. Everybody wanna jump in, but I'm old school. Lone wolf, take them on solo.
I love that flow.
Yeah. I don't need nobody. I don't need to be nobody. I'm just doing my thing. Kick it at the crib, I don't see nobody, no. So over there with that bullshit, we don't need it on this side. I'm pulling up in that new shit. You always whipping that dick ride. I demand your respect. I won't share my connect. No, let's get this clear. I am here. I don't care who got next. Young vet, feeling like they forget. I let it slide. This time, like 25 years I've been high and no less. Yes, shit I know I don't guess. Rather glow, I won't stress. Better say that shit with your chest. Okay, well I'ma be here for a while longer than I did expect to. I was out of town getting lost till I was rescued. Now I'm in the clouds, come down when I run out of jet fuel. But I never run out of jet fuel. Well, I'ma be here for a while longer than I did expect to. I was out of town getting lost till I was rescued. Now I'm in the clouds, come down when I run out of jet
Love that
fuel.
vocal in the background.
But I never run out of jet
beautiful.
fuel.
Trumpet's nice.
Play that. That little guitar loop's cool too.
Yeah.
Big switch up.
Yeah, what a contrast, right?
Wow. That really sits you into that.
Yeah.
It's a bit unsettling at the end there.
Really, especially given, the context.
Mm.
I don't know if for you, but that last bit, and it's pretty emotional, right?
Mm. Yeah, definitely.
Because I feel like within the verses, you're kind of just exposed to his cool, laid back vibe, like we were talking about, right?
Yeah.
And then at the end there, you're just reminded of what happened, and it's a real loss.
Was really well done because in the verses, he's clear. You can hear him. He's got the swag. He's moving quick.
Yeah.
And then that last bit, it's like he's struggling to
Yeah.
get the words
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
You can't really hear them well.
Yeah.
It's very clouded and it's stripped back as well.
Yeah.
It's very raw.
And given the album's called Swimming, and from doing some reading into it, I think it's the first song off that album, where he talks about he's no longer drowning, he's now swimming, right? Which I guess you could say is like thriving, instead of like struggling in life. But like you said, in that last part, it does make me think of someone going maybe back under the surface of the water.
Yes.
Right? And you even mentioned
that
this.
didn't sound like swimming to me.
No, it didn't, did it? It's like someone calling for help,
Mm.
towards the surface or something. And the start, you mentioned the waves as well, right?
Yes.
So again, is that trying to make us think of, of that, I guess?
I think
putting
so.
us in that. What a song, man.
Very cool song.
Two very different parts of the song.
Mhm.
But it really worked. And it kind of, that last bit gave me kind of, Kanye auto-tune vibes.
Yep.
A little bit.
Yep.
But I thought it was really well done. And I'm usually not the biggest fan of auto-tune, personally. I'm not sure if you are. But I thought it really worked there.
It can work.
It can work if it's done well. Yeah, and I really liked it there, actually.
I mean, there's almost 3 parts. The intro is very different too.
It's so different.
Got the reggae sample.
Yeah.
But
I
like, where's this going?
But I think that makes sense because even that was kind of braggadocious in a way.
Exactly. But it does set the scene, right?
It does. It really does. Can I just say that bass line, first of all, so good. But also, I know we looked up earlier that Steve Lacy was part of one of the people that produced this. That is definitely him on the bass line, right? It sounds like it sounds like a Steve Lacy bass line.
Is Mac playing that guitar or is that
I'm not sure.
that Lacy too?
I'm not sure. I mean, did Mac play the guitar? I know he played. It looked like he played piano.
Mac can play guitar.
He plays guitar as well. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Because I mean, we've seen him play piano, keyboard, obviously, drums. We saw him playing.
Yep.
That's
guitar.
Yeah, dude was very skilled. Very skilled.
If I'm not misremembering, I know he had John Mayer in the studio and they were both just playing guitar to each other and like
Wow.
things out. So,
Yeah. Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. Really, really cool.
Which is, I think, something we wanted to touch on about Mac, which is he really was a musician.
Yes.
He was super musical, and he obviously had a lot of musicianship within him.
Yeah.
Like he didn't just rap.
Totally. And I don't want to take away from rappers who do just rap.
Yeah.
Because there are some who do that and only do it and do it really well, right? They're like a specialist.
That's right.
But he really was super versatile.
He jumped into a lot of pools, you know.
And which why I think his music is also, it's a real mix of sounds,
Correct.
right? He wasn't just doing that, stereotypical rap.
This is the thing, right? So,
And I'm a big fan of rap.
yep,
But
we've
I
heard
love his
him
sounds.
rap in many different ways. Well, first, we've heard him play a lot of different instruments. He can
Yes.
play a lot of instruments. He dabbles in a lot. He tries a lot of things. He sings too, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like a raw sounding voice as well. But,
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
suits his style. He also raps in many different ways.
Yes.
I've heard him do the real modern style, almost mumble rappy trappy style. Then I've heard him do like 90s hip hop,
Yeah.
old school, and then I've heard him do like some creative jazzy rap that I don't think anyone really was doing. Like he had his own flavor sometimes, which was just like the timing was weird. And
That's so true. Who else was kind of in that lane of doing, like, I know there's jazz rap, like you got people like, A Tribe Called Quest and people like this, right?
yeah,
But I feel like what he was doing was still different.
yeah, the timing was odd.
It was. Yeah. You're right. He had jazz-like timing.
I don't know if like MF Doom, did he have odd timing?
He did.
He had a bit of an interesting thing
He
about
did.
him.
He definitely did.
You
MF
know?
Doom did.
And
Yep.
and
Again,
remember-
different.
And
but
I
yeah.
struggled to get into MF Doom because of that.
So did I initially. And I struggled to get into Mac initially.
I also struggled to get into Mac.
Yeah.
As well.
I think one of the first songs I heard, I can't remember which one it was, but it was off his first album. And I just remember hearing that and being like, it's like frat boy rap or something, right? And I just totally disregard. I'm like, okay, that's what.
Well, I remember, and I used to think like it's a bit off. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't hitting when I wanted it
Yes.
to hit, like with other rappers.
But again, like MF Doom, now you see the genius. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it took me a bit, but then when I saw it, I was like, wow, he's actually doing stuff that.
Yeah. So it was like us that needed to get educated or to get exposed to more or other types of music, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
He raps it's very musical.
It is.
There's such a musicality to his flow and everything.
Which is why I think his Tiny Desk concert was so good.
Mm.
And to anyone who hasn't
Really
watched
good.
that, highly recommend it. I think it's one of the better ones.
It's super cool.
It's
I really like that Tiny Desk.
You've also
I've
got
watched it
Thundercat.
Yeah, and I've
in
watched
that.
it multiple times. There's
Yeah.
amazing musicians in there.
Yeah.
The singers and everything.
Yeah. He's also great with interacting with the audience, Mac, in that.
He's a bit cheeky.
He is a bit cheeky in that. Yeah.
And he's a bit shy and like, there's like a lot of, color to him. Like
But I think that's what's so cool about him. He's
he's
kinda,
humble.
He's kind of open with his shyness, though, right?
He is.
and
He
he-
plays to it.
And he owns it. And that's what made him very relatable and charismatic just because he's owning it,
Correct.
right? But he has that shyness, but he's also
But he's
su-
also cool. and-
super cool.
Yeah. He's
super,
got a
super cool.
swagger about
He
him.
does. He had a really
But then
cool
he's
swagger.
also, he can be loud, he can be quiet, he can be,
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
just, what a cool guy.
Just seemed like he'd be a great hang, right?
I think so.
Yeah, for sure.
We should jump into some
Let's talk about some of these
the
lyrics. Yeah. So, are there
Verse
any...
1. What stood out to you?
For me, I mean, first of all, I guess something we definitely should mention is his flow is so good in this song.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned that, right?
It's very nice.
Very, very good. One that stood out for me, where his flow is especially nice and also made me laugh, is that backflip off the rope, skyhook when I'm in the post. Yeah, my girl too clutch to choke. The flow is great there. That's really well written.
It is.
And I mean, from what he's telling us, his girl was MJ in a different discipline, I guess. So, yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I love it though, the backflip off the ropes, the wrestling reference, and the skyhook in the post.
Yeah.
No, it's two sports. And
again, relatable dude, right? It's
Yeah.
things that men, generally speaking, are into. So, yeah, just very relatable guy.
All right, I just want to start with the first few lines because I think they're worth highlighting here. So it was, used to want to be a superhero, flying around with a cape catching bad guys. Now my head underwater, but I ain't in the shower and I ain't getting baptized. I thought that was an interesting line. So he's always wanted to be a superhero, like most little kids.
Yeah, sure.
But now his head's underwater, so he's not doing so well.
Mm.
And he's not in the shower and he's not getting baptized. So it's,
Yeah.
He's dealing with a lot.
Yes.
And in this case, I mean, it's called swimming,
Mm.
but here he's not swimming.
Well, the album's called,
Yeah, the album's called Swimming.
Yeah.
And it's about, I'm no longer drowning. But in this part of the verse here, it sounds like he's drowning. Rob, did you notice in the pre-chorus, that's when Matt comes in and he's like his voice is very affected compared to the verse.
Yeah. He sounds a bit more distant, a bit more out of it, I guess.
Yeah, it's almost like he's rising up to the clouds.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's these intricate little noises and like effects coming in and out. Like some of them sound like a video game or effect. And these little, like a xylophone or something, like a triangle, I think actually.
Yeah, it could triangle. Be. I know the sounds you're talking about.
Because a triangle is very like it kind of makes you think of above.
Yep.
It's so light and like
Yeah.
like an angel or something.
Mm-hmm. And then I guess as you move into the chorus, it becomes more heavenly, but also has like a heavenly sound, right? With that humming,
the humming
in the background.
Yes.
The chorus is really nice. I mean, the whole song is great, but the chorus is really, really nice. And then you might have noticed, I feel like he's kind of singing quite slowly here, whereas the rapping in the verse is quite quick, right?
Yes,
so I imagine this is meant to make him sound, out of it or faded or whatever it may be, right?
Yes. Same as the pre-chorus, right? It's very spaced and
totally.
He's speaking a lot slower.
Yeah. So it's like a big contrast between the two, like the verses and the pre-chorus and chorus.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And it definitely gets you definitely get to hear like the almost, is it the sober Mac and the high Mac? Almost,
Yeah. So I mean, that's really well done.
Well, in terms of what he says in the chorus, Rob, he's saying like, I'll be here for a while, longer than I did expect to. I was out of town getting lost till I was rescued. Now I'm in the clouds, come down when I run out of jet fuel. But I never run out of jet fuel. It's interesting, right? So now that he's taken the drugs and he's sort of floating, he's a bit lighter.
Yeah.
And like his anxieties and things have gone away.
All been alleviated.
He's now like, wait, I might actually stay here a bit longer.
Yeah.
This is nice. Like I've got some respite.
I like it here,
yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why a lot of people do get into these things.
Yeah, of course.
It finally gives you a breath of fresh air.
Yeah,
almost,
for sure.
So
that brings us to verse 2. I mean, I like the whole verse personally, but a couple of parts that stuck out. I really like that, that jumping out the womb wearing polo. Everybody want to jump in, but I'm old school lone wolf, take them on solo. That flow is really sick.
It's a nice flow.
Really cool. And then I like how he switched up the flow when he did that. Where was that? That saw over there with that bullshit. We don't need it on this side. Like how he slowed it down. He's really good at that. Hey, like mixing up the flow.
Plays with his timing.
Yeah. So I just thought it was cool. I think what we're realizing though is like the song has such a cool sound, right? And he sounds super confident in the verses. But I mean, after reading the lyrics, like he really is telling you that he's struggling, right? Which is kind of goes against the sound of the song almost. Because you're used to these kind of songs when it sounds more, confident or braggadocious, to use that word. It would usually be someone saying lyrics that are really talking themselves up. But in this one, it has that sound, but it's kind of the opposite.
120 on a car that I don't whip.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Imagine saying like normally it's I spent 120 on a car, like this
Yeah,
new
it's just
whip,
like, yeah.
bragging about it.
Spend a ton of money on a car, exactly. Yeah.
But he's just saying like I bought it. I didn't barely even drive it.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's not usually said like a negative like that,
I
is
didn't
it?
even pull it up the driveway.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like doesn't even care about it.
I guess it's that whole like money doesn't buy happiness.
It is.
Right. So yeah, look, I thought that was interesting in terms of it sounds like that kind of song in terms of like talking yourself up, but it's not that at all actually.
Yeah, exactly right.
Mm.
But he just delivers everything so well.
He does. Dude has
nicely
such a
done.
confidence in how he delivers his rhymes.
And the beat is interesting too. I remember hearing some sort of like there was some like kind of industrial sound about it. There was a big reverb.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was interesting beat too.
And then we come to this outro.
Which is a big switch up.
Is a huge switch up. In terms of you go to that kind of like Kanye West sounding auto tune almost kind of sound.
And you get a very raw, pulled back beat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, completely different.
There's not a lot going on in the I think like I mentioned before, it's very hard to hear what he's saying almost.
In the outro?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without
true.
the lyrics in front of you, you could misinterpret certain words. And, it's very heavily affected.
It is. Yeah.
It's so distant.
It is. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, once you read it though, I guess similar to the verses in the sense that it's about him struggling again, right?
Mm-hmm.
And from what we read, because you clicked on the lyrics here so we could see what it was being talked about, it sounds like he's putting his fate in the hands of the drugs.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
But he gives himself a little pep talk at the end. He says, "Now is only now, and head back to the ground, dear."
I love the use of the word dear.
Yeah.
Because you'd only say that to someone that you really care and love, right? Care about and love. So do you think that's him saying that to himself, calling himself dear? That's my guess.
I believe so. Like the high Mac.
Yeah.
Saying to the sober Mac.
Yeah.
Like, now is only now. Head back to the ground, dear. Like it's time you head back.
Yeah.
You've been up here a while.
Yeah. Which, I mean, interesting that he had that awareness, obviously. He was able to step outside and see what he was doing and say, hang on a sec, I shouldn't be doing this for too long, right?
Exactly right.
Yeah. Look, all in all, great song. And I have to say, though, like, after reading the lyrics, it's cutting, for sure.
Well, it's about abuse, isn't it? It's drug abuse.
Yeah, for sure.
Substance abuse.
Yeah, but just such an interesting way of delivering that, I guess, because usually with this kind of song, it's like I'm talking about something like this where I'm struggling. The music's going to reflect that. It's going to be sad. It's going to be slow, possibly. Whereas this is really cool, and especially with the intro, it's kind of giving you
like you think it like he sounds cool.
Yeah,
he's
and
moving smoothly and
yeah,
he's rapping nice and the flow's nice. He's writing the beat well.
Yeah. And the intro is kind of setting that expectation like, hey, this is kind of that hip hop song where you feel yourself a bit, you know? And then it has that sound.
He is feeling himself, but he's high when he's feeling
himself.
Yes.
True. Yeah. But look, great song. Cool song. Like I said, when I first heard Mac, I wasn't the biggest fan. Kind of hate that I wasn't because he's one of my favorite artists now. And I'll be keen to cover a lot more of his music in the future. I mean, this album is great. He's got several great albums, though.
Yeah, I only got into him not too long before he passed. Like, not too long before.
It was probably similar for me. I mean, you showed me that song with him and Anderson .Paak. Dang.
Yeah, Dang. That's a cool song.
Right? And I think that's when you got me into him. I was like, oh, wow, he's making this kind of music? Okay, I'm into this.
That's such a cool track.
That's a very smooth song.
Sounds awesome on it. And
yeah.
amazing on that.
Yeah. And it makes sense those two would be on that track, right?
Oh.
Yeah.
Both so smooth.
That's a great song.
Yeah.
So I guess the only other thing I want to say is like, what a loss, right? Like, Mac was an incredible lyricist, an amazing performer. From footage I've seen of him with other, he just looks like a really like all around great dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like he looked like he was, you know, always super positive and happy. Like from reading these lyrics, of course, he struggled as well. Like everyone does, right? Everyone's not always happy or always sad or whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
I was gonna say we see several successful people, you know, in all different genres, you know, not just music, of anything.
Yeah.
And you see struggle in a lot of them.
Yes.
You know, and I think it comes with the path as well. When you're dedicating so much time to one thing, well, you can't dedicate time to some other things.
Yes.
That probably need your attention. You know, and it gets to a point where it may be too late, or you know, it's really hard to put time into it because you haven't for so long. You know, you may have forgotten how to, or you know, don't have the tools to.
I think so. And maybe what I'm about to say would be better said after hearing the song Good News. I think it ties more into that. But I think, like, as a society, we need to be better. And this goes for me as well. Like, I'm not perfect, of course. But I think we need to be...
Far from it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you know. But I think just
if you know, you know.
Exactly. I think just as a society, though, we need to be better in terms of when people are down, being able to be there for that person and not always thinking that, you know, your friends or family always need to be upbeat and in a good mood. Sometimes, like, someone's going to be struggling and it's going to be tough to be with that person in that moment, right? But it's so important to be there for them. Even if you're not great and don't feel like you have the tools to be amazing in that moment, even just being by that person's side means so much. And I mean, like, I've been through tough times years ago, and I can think of one of my best friends, Gary, who he would just tell me, like, he knew I was struggling, and he was like, dude, I had no job at the time, right? And he would say to me, dude, I'm going to be over 6 p.m. tomorrow night after work, and I'm coming over every night. And he would just show up.
Wow.
And I remember thinking, like, I must have been the hardest person to have been around at that point in time. I was just like a big wet blanket, right? Honestly, I was like super negative.
Just weighing people down.
I was always finding the negative in everything he would say. And he still kept coming over because he was like just resilient and was like, I'm not giving up on you, right? And
that's a great friend.
An amazing friend. And I know that's really hard to do, but, and maybe you don't have to go to that extent, but I think it is important to just show up. Because there were times I remember sitting in his car where we wouldn't even say a whole lot. We would kind of just sit in silence sometimes.
We're just having someone there.
Exactly. And that's what it was. Me just looking over, or not even looking over, just looking out the window and just knowing he's here for me. He could be doing anything right now.
Yeah, that's right.
But he decided to come and sit next to me. And it's not easy for sure. But here he is. Right. So yeah, I think that's something as a society we need to be better at. I mean, me too. It goes for me too.
Well, I personally think society is getting better at that.
I think we are, but I still think we have a ways to go.
Oh, of course.
Because I'm just thinking of people that have been in my life, and yeah, you know, apart from you know, family members like yourself or my friend Gary, like I said, generally speaking, I find most people aren't willing to do that, and they're kind of like, come back to me when you're in a good mood, you know. I don't want to deal with that because
you look at times past, you know, and look where we're at now.
Definitely, we've come a long way.
Definitely on the right road.
Come a long way.
You know, sure, we detour and things, but
yeah,
we're on the way.
I'm definitely being an idealist right now, for sure. Where it's like, you're right, we have come a long way, for sure.
Yeah.
But
and it's hard.
It's
not easy to be there for someone when they're in a completely different like mind state to you.
Yes,
you know, it's really hard to talk to them. It's really hard to relate and to help. And
yes,
you don't want to, you know, step on the wrong, you know.
Yeah.
It's like you're stepping on ice. Like it's, you know.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
It's hard.
Yeah, it is. It is. But I mean, even small things are important too, right? Like,
yeah.
In terms of, I was at the bus stop this morning and this old man was, when I say old man, he's probably like in his 70s or something, right? He was walking past me and he had a very like hardened face.
Compared to you, that's an old man.
It is. Yeah, exactly.
He may move like him.
It's all relative. We definitely probably move in a similar. He's probably fitter than me, to be honest. Not hard. But, you know, generally speaking, when people are out, you know, out in the world, they're kind of walking around with generally like quite a serious face. For some reason, that's just what we do.
The resting serious face.
It's kind of weird we do that, isn't it? And if someone has like a smile, you're like, all right, found the serial killer. Like, it's kind of weird. That's how we see people.
Oh no, it's the happy guy.
Right? Yeah. It's so strange.
Jim Carrey did a bit on that.
Yeah,
The
right.
guy that's always happy.
Yeah. But anyway, so he was walking past me with like quite like a hardened face. And as I was looking at him and thinking, oh, he has quite a hardened face, I kind of thought, oh, I probably have the same face right now as well. And him and I just did one of those looks at each other and then just gave each other a smile. And it was just nice. It was like, yeah, like I think it's important to do little things like that. So basic, right? And so easy to do. But I could have so easily, and he could have so easily just not done that.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And it did give me a bit of joy, to be honest. I was like, oh, I feel like a bit better now. I don't know who that guy is. He has no idea who I am, but just gave each other a little bit of happiness to start the day.
It's interesting. I always try to do a similar thing. Anytime I'm walking somewhere, if someone's walking past me, I try to give them the acknowledgement and the smile, like the head nod.
Oh, so you're the guy that's looking like I'm going to catch eyes with you?
Yeah, I'm trying to get this. I'm going to smile at you, and I hope I get the smile back.
Yep.
And most of the time I do. Sometimes they just walk right past, just don't worry about it.
Yeah, what I noticed was I was almost scared to be that guy that you are, where like I was scared to give him that smile without him even doing it because I didn't know if it would be returned. So him and I were kind of doing that thing of like, wait, are you about to catch eyes with? Okay, yeah, we are. Oh, here we are. Like we're both kind of sussing each other out.
But yeah, as we were saying, definitely a loss for the music industry, but even apart from that, just a loss for the world.
Yeah, well said.
As we said.
Well said.
There's a video to this song that was put out. Was that recently, Rob?
Yeah, I think it was within the last couple of days by whoever's looking after Mac Miller's YouTube channel now.
And it's a really nice video.
It is.
It shows a lot of behind the scenes.
And it's with this song. It's the visuals to this song.
Yeah, with this song. And it shows a lot of behind the scenes of Mac on different days. Having a laugh and playing around, and he's backstage.
Yeah.
He's in the studio, or he's working out like choreography, or he's talking to the costume people, or whoever. Like he's interacting and connecting, and it's a very nice video.
And that video really confirmed like the way I thought of Mac and like stories I've heard about him in terms of he really did seem like the type that would walk into a room and just light it up.
That's right.
Like with his positivity, his happiness, right?
I feel like he was happy to roll with anyone, just.
Yeah.
He could talk to anyone. He can relate to anyone. He'll find a way. Like, I think he seems like one of those people to me.
He totally does. And
like an old soul and a new soul. Like, he can play with both.
Yeah, and back to that thing I was talking about before, me and that old man at the bus stop. I think that's where I actually see Mac as a massive inspiration. I want to be more like him in terms of being that light that walks into a room, right? And there's times where you won't feel like that because we all have our difficult times. But yeah, generally speaking, I would like to be more like that. So dude is a massive inspiration to me on many levels, but that's certainly one of them.
Well, it's a good way to look at it, If we didn't care so much about what people thought of us in a lot of like material ways and status and all that, but maybe if we cared more that they take that away from us. Like that person, they always made me smile, and they always like we should care more about those things.
Yes. Yes, exactly right.
And if everyone could take that away about, yourself, then I think you're doing a good thing.
I agree. And it's kind of like one of those things where you're kind of changing the world at like a smaller level, but it would like expand from there, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Because if you may say, you make one person feel great and then they take that back to their family and their family works with different people, they take, like, it just keeps.
It's the domino effect.
It's that ripple effect, right?
That's right.
So yeah. I mean, that's one thing I take from this.
It's a good take.
And something I definitely want to work on for sure. So yeah, keen to cover more Mac Miller songs. Definitely.
He's got a great discography.
He really does. Honestly, like I said, wasn't a fan a decade ago or something, and now I'd say I probably have more Mac Miller songs than most other artists in my Spotify library.
Yeah, wow.
So yeah, massive fan now.
All right, guys. Well, I think that's it from us, Rob.
I think it is, Scott. Yeah.
What a track. And look,
great song.
I think we're definitely going to be reviewing some more Mac Miller for sure.
Definitely.
Down the road.
Definitely.
A wonderful discography he has.
He really does.
And he's definitely touched the hearts and musical minds of many people. So
definitely he has.
I definitely want to, give him his due.
Me too.
And so
me too.
He deserves a lot of reviews.
and I mean, there's possibly some people out there who haven't heard his music at all, or certain parts of his discography, right? And I mean, if we could share that, I would love to be able to do
Correct.
that.
And there's definitely going to be people that don't quite understand it, just like you and I did prior.
Yes.
Like it was hard to understand how he works and,
Yeah.
and you know, to relate to the music sometimes, but maybe we can help someone, you know, build that bridge and then they can be open to the world of Mac.
Totally. And I would love if we could help do that. And he is a bit of an acquired taste in some way.
He is.
Right? But once you understand him, man, is he good?
Yeah.
Like, you will 100%. Once you get past that, you will really appreciate how impressive this guy was.
And then you start to, you know, peel the onion and find out what a lovely human he was too. So
yeah, and speaking of peeling the onion, you see how many different like layers he had to him, right?
Well done, Rob. Yeah. Onions have layers, ogres have layers, and Mac Miller had layers.
He certainly did.
All right, well, we're all in agreement there. So on that, goodbye from us.
Yeah, that's it from us, guys. Take care, and we'll see you again soon.
All right, catch you soon. Bye
See
bye.
you guys. Bye.